Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the pink Protoss in the bottom right of Kingston Junction Station. He is Team Fnatic's Harstem. Woohoo!
Here goes the DSCL.
And in the top left, his green opponent, also the Protoss. He is Grubby.
Prime Minister of Esports.
The Prime Minister of Esports is something I hear coming up from the crowd. So yeah, Kingston Junction Station is a pretty wide open map. What do you think some of the preferable strategies you think are in PvP on this map? Do you have any idea?
The few games I've seen gone longer into the Ark and Immortal style.
Yeah.
I've seen people try to defend the 3-base with Colossi, but then the tempo switch is like the rush distance is quite long, so the tempo switch has quite a lot of potential. But that's just how I feel. I don't have a lot of information on PvP on this map.
I think Tempest is something to definitely go with in the later game because of the high amount of cliffs here. There's a lot of places you can go around, go through, especially in the center of the map. Especially is usually where two players will fight for control to be able to secure their expansions. And if you do that, then Tempests are in the later game an excellent asset to have in your army.
Sure. I think in any Protoss matchup, eventually you get Tempest. That's just how it is.
It's kind of true. Like, who makes Garrius these days, man?
White Ra?
Yeah, okay. Well, then you're talking about someone.
I guess that's why he's not doing so well lately.
Yeah. I'm not sure how he did at his recent tournaments, but I don't think anyone has all that high expectations of White the way they used to. So far, we have double gas being taken by both Protoss players. Nothing that's too strange. We do see, however, Grubby from Harstem here being the first one to send a probe out on the map, and he's been scouting around his third base and his natural to check for any proxy pylons. I think he knows that Grubby is the kind of player that, even though he likes to play solid, is not afraid to pull out these kinds of cheeses. However, what I know of Grubby is that he will usually only pull these cheeses against players that he feels confident against, that he just wants to end the series quickly. I've never seen him do it against a player of Harstem's caliber.
That's interesting. I never thought of it that way, but I could definitely see how that works. Because if you cheese a player lower than you, you put a lot of pressure, not only on him in-game, but on his mindset going through the series. Well, if you're playing against someone who's worse than you, and you cheese and it gets stopped, you're in an even worse position than you already were.
Like a lot of lower level players, well, of course I'm referring to myself as Diamond tier, they will slip up while they have to focus so much on their control, you know, to forget to make workers and stuff. And at the end, when you do hold it off, you're actually, especially economically, in a worse position.
Okay, so this is interesting. Harstem scouts 3 pylons right now, but there is a probe top right for Grubby. So is this third pylon a fake out, and is he going to actually proxy something? It does look like he is.
Yeah, it's a very nice mind game here by Grubby because, you know, when you scout 3 pylons, especially me as a Terran, you feel quite safe, you know, especially if you see a Nexus afterwards. But Grubby does have a probe up in the top right, poised there to throw down a pylon. But actually, he's just going to build a Twilight Council right in the middle of his base.
This is good for Grubby if he figures out what's going on. If they both just go Twilight and just do the same thing, I think Harstem is slightly ahead. He doesn't have a proxy probe, and his Twilight is slightly ahead of...
I think it's going to be DTs for Grubby.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
Harstem hasn't actually scouted the Twilight Council of Grubby, and the pylon is only, well, it is starting, and he hit that probe out on the map quite early. And this is really a place where nobody ever scouts, because unless you proxy just one specific building, like a Dark Shrine, there's really no sense putting anything there.
I think a lot of Stargates get proxied there, because it's kind of close to the base still, and it's really hard to see.
Okay.
I think it's like relatively common. Here, he's even... Did he see the... I don't think he saw the probe passing by.
I'm not sure if you saw it.
That's huge. If he sees that probe, that's over. He's moving up.
Uh-oh.
Oh, what?
Oh, here we go. There's one probe. It's also going to proxy.
Oh, that.
But there is actually a stalker on their way for Grubby.
Wait. This is great for Grubby. He sees the probe, so he must know there's a pylon there. And it also must ring a bell. Why would there be a proxy pylon?
Yep. So we have DTs on their way for Grubby. And just Blink here for Harstem, who's actually building a Robo to follow this up. This is a very safe build by Harstem, you know. Going Blink into Immortal, it can be considered very safe, unless you're up against some very early timings. But, you know, he sees something coming. He's huddling all his Stalkers in his mineral line, and he's scrolling out an Observer.
Even though that went so well for Grubby, finding the probe and actually not getting his stuff scouted, Harstem's almost blindly countering what Grubby's doing.
Yeah. And whoa, he's actually almost picking off Stalker there, nothing too much happening. Harstem's army is actually double the supply of Grubby's with 6 Stalkers against 3. The proxy pylon at the top also has not been spotted at all by Grubby, so an attack could still come, and I think, yeah,
That's weird.
You know, there's an observer on the way, and Grubby really needs to do something about this. He's in a really tough position right now. If the DTs, oh my god, does it get spotted? Yeah, he should have seen the DT.
He saw it. He moved he turned his observer around. I think he saw it.
Oh, so
He's
Grubby
going up the ramp.
is basically automatically behind simply because of his build order choice. Harstem is defending this perfectly. He warped in a single sentry here at the top of his ramp.
He's
So he
even
can,
gonna get a Nexus.
yeah, he doesn't even need
Oh.
to. He just blinks on top of it and kills it like a slam dunk. Oh, but at the meantime, Grubby's actually getting ready to blink into the back of Harstem's base. Looking at the army count, oh, Harstem actually does.
an army forward.
Yeah, and this, oh, if he snipes the pylon, that's huge! That's a huge Artosis pylon! 3 gateways go down immediately. Grubby seems to have a small favor here with more Stalkers than Harstem has, and it's gonna just blindly come down to micro here. There's no photon overcharge being deployed right yet, and it seems Harstem slightly has the upper edge and will fend this. He goes for the mothership core, but he doesn't get it. Oh, so close with this 1 Stalker, leaves with 1 HP.
Overall, that trade was okay for Grubby, but seeing he has no Nexus to fall back on,
Yeah.
and Harstem's expanding and has a Robo, this is really good for Harstem.
Yeah, this is really good. Grubby making another aggressive move here, but I think that's going to cost him some Stalkers though. The army was right in position to blink on top of this, cost him even more Stalkers. No, he gets out quite cleanly actually. So Grubby really, you know, running the gauntlet here, carving the edge, taking a lot of risks. But to be honest, when you're in a position like this, you have to pressure your opponent. You have to be aggressive and force him to make some mistakes.
This is where you need to pull your genius. You need to do something, either like a Warp Prism, like even though it's so late, there needs to be a comeback.
Time
Straight
warp.
up Blink Stalker won't cut it.
Time warp on top of the other blink stalkers, but they can simply blink out immediately. Finally, the photon overcharge gets deployed, and this will repel the attack. Harstem actually blinks forward, doesn't follow this up though, takes 1 stalker down.
This looks like desperation from Grubby. He's not making game-winning moves. He's just smashing his head into the wall, as it were. And it's looking grim, but it's not over yet.
No, it's not over yet. The stalker count is still actually quite equal. Oh, here it looks, but it's
Blink
not a good
forward.
concave here for Grubby. Oh man, so many stalkers here falling for Grubby. Not sure what he's supposed to target. He tries to blink back, but he's kind of trapped in his corner.
He's in a decent position, and Harstem keeps making blinks forward. That actually allows Grubby to trade well, but overall, the stalker numbers for Grubby are just dwindling, and I don't see what he can do at this point.
Yeah, he's down 12 supply. GG.
GG.
Harstem takes game 1 in convincing fashion, though I have to admit